speaker. So we have our guest speaker Dr. Harsh Satya, and recently last month when we did the Bhed Chal movie related session by director Ankit Pogla garu, so there were requests that okay Harsh garto kuda ok session unte baguntundi ani. So Harsh Satya garu IIIT హైదరాబాద్ నుంచి పిహెచ్డి చేశారండి. సో తన రీసెర్చ్ అంతా ఏంటంటే ఇండియన్ విలేజ్ లో అసలు ఎలా ఫంక్షన్ అయ్యేది ఇండియన్ విలేజ్, డిఫరెంట్ వేరియస్ జాతులు ఉండేవి. సో ఆ జాతుల మధ్యలో ఇంటరాక్షన్ ఎలా ఉండేది, అసలు ఫండమెంటల్ ప్రిన్సిపల్స్ ఏంటి ఆఫ్ ఎన్ ఇండియన్ విలేజ్ అన్న దాని మీద తను చాలా ఇయర్స్ రీసెర్చ్ చేశారు. అండ్ ఈ రీసెర్చ్ కి తను అచ్చంగా ఆదిలాబాద్ లో రవీంద్ర శర్మ గారు అని ఉండేవారు. సో కళా ఆశ్రమం అని ఉంటుంది ఆదిలాబాద్ లో. ఆయన దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళి ఆయన ఆల్మోస్ట్ 30 years ఆదిలాబాద్ చుట్టూతా అన్ని విలేజెస్ తిరిగి అసలు విలేజెస్ లో ఎటువంటి రిచువల్స్ ఉన్నాయి, ఎటువంటి ఆచారాలు ఉన్నాయి, వాటి సభ్యత ఏంటి, వాటికి వాళ్ళ కల్చర్ ఏంటి అంతా బాగా స్టడీ చేసి ఫండమెంటల్ ప్రిన్సిపల్స్ ఏంటి, అసలు ఆ ఫౌండేషన్ ఏంటి మన ఇండియన్ విలేజ్ కి అన్నది రవీంద్ర శర్మ గారు బాగా స్టడీ చేశారు. దాని నుంచి మన హర్ష్ గారు ఇంకాస్ట్ దాన్ని ఎన్హాన్స్ చేశారు. దాన్ని ఒక పిహెచ్డి థీసిస్ చేశారు దాని మీద, ఆ నాలెడ్జ్ మొత్తాన్ని సమ్మరైజ్ చేస్తూ అట్లా. అండ్ ప్రొఫెసర్ నవజ్యోతి సింగ్ గారు హర్ష్ యొక్క గైడ్ అన్నమాట. సో ఈ రీసెర్చ్ అనేది చాలా ఇంట్రెస్టింగ్. అసలు రవీంద్ర శర్మ గారు అయితే ఆయన మన ఇండియన్ విలేజెస్ గురించి చెప్తూ ఉంటే ఏదో పాట పాడుతున్నట్టు ఉంటుంది, ఎంతో చాలా బ్యూటిఫుల్ గా ఉంటుంది. మీరు కావాలంటే కొన్ని రికార్డింగ్స్ ఉన్నాయి, పాపం అంటే ఆయన లేరు ఇప్పుడు మనతోటి, రికార్డింగ్స్ ఉన్నాయి రవీంద్ర శర్మ గారివి, అవి వినొచ్చు కావాలంటే. మన ఇండియన్ విలేజ్ గురించి ఎంతో బ్యూటిఫుల్ స్టోరీస్ చెప్పేవాళ్ళు. చాలా మనకే అసలు ఇంత బాగుంటుందా మన ఇండియన్ విలేజ్ సిస్టమ్, ఇంత కేర్ఫుల్ గా డిజైన్ చేశారా అని వి విల్ బి మెస్మరైజ్డ్ అనమాట. సో ఆ నాలెడ్జ్ అన్నటికీ ఇప్పుడు కైండ్ ఆఫ్ వారసుడు అనొచ్చు హర్ష్ గారు. సో నేను తెలుగులో చెప్తున్నాను, కానీ హర్ష్ ఈజ్ ఫ్రమ్ నార్త్ ఇండియా, ఢిల్లీలో పుట్టి పెరిగాడు. అండ్ తను యాక్చువల్లీ ఒక జీవన్ విద్య ఫ్యామిలీ నుంచి వస్తున్నారు. సో హర్ష్ వాళ్ళ ఫాదర్ యశ్పాల్ సత్య గారు ఎవరైతే ఉన్నారో, ఈజ్ వన్ ఆఫ్ ద ఫస్ట్ ఫౌండర్స్ ఆఫ్ జీవన్ విద్య వర్క్ షాప్. 1980s లో జీవన్ విద్య వర్క్ షాప్ ఒక స్ట్రక్చర్ ఇచ్చిన వాళ్ళలో వన్ ఆఫ్ ద మెయిన్ పర్సన్స్ యశ్పాల్ సత్య గారు. సో ఆయన చైల్డ్ కాబట్టి చిన్నప్పటి నుంచి జీవన్ విద్య నాలెడ్జ్ కి, జీవన్ విద్య కంటెంట్ కి కూడా తను ఎక్స్పోజ్ అవుతూనే వచ్చాడు. సో నాకు హర్ష్ కి కామన్ జర్నీ కూడా ఉంది. నేను IIITలో మాస్టర్స్ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు ఒక 3 ఏళ్ళు తను పిహెచ్డి చేస్తున్నాడు. సో మేమిద్దరం కలిసి ట్రావెల్ కూడా చేసాము. సో వీ హ్యావ్ ఎ వెరీ గుడ్ వన్ ఆఫ్ మై వెరీ గుడ్ ఫ్రెండ్స్ అనమాట తను. అండ్ తను చాలా తర్వాత కంటిన్యూ చేసి రీసెర్చ్, దెన్ హీ ఫినిష్డ్ హిస్ పిహెచ్డి అండ్ he's now writing and more research, and he's looking into publishing books and అలాంటి యాక్టివిటీస్ లో తను ఇన్వాల్వ్ అయి ఉన్నారు. సో with that informal yet warm introduction to my friend Harsh, I would like to invite him to speak about what he has titled today as Value of Art and Village in the Indian Tradition.
Thank you, Suman. Thank you for having me on this platform. Since time is short, I'll just quickly go to the point. But before I start, I think I have been a student of Ganesh Ji also. My whatever familiarity is there with Jeevan Vidya is through Ganesh Ji. So Ganesh Ji at some point had given me this task that I should find some bridge between Jeevan Vidya and Guruji Ravindra Sharma, what he is saying. And I am taking this opportunity to present to you what I think is a bridge between the Indian tradition, what Ravindra Sharma ji is saying, and what Jeevan Vidya is saying. So I would appreciate if in this context you could hear me. I'll straight away go to the point. Um, I want to begin by narrating a story. It is a story of the birth of art, when the first art form or when the first drama was born. It's the story of the first drama. So the story is that uh, people were living in Satyug, the Kriti Yug, and they were all living according to the Dharma. You know, none of their actions had any fallacies. Because of this, everybody was living happily, with continuous happiness. Slowly, with time, a small discrepancy occurred in their behavior, which the gods noticed. The gods noticed that man, because he's living happily continuously, he has forgotten about the issues of dharma, and instead he has become focused on issues of sukh and dukh, on issues of happiness and unhappiness. He seems to have taken dharma for granted. This fallacy the gods noticed. So they went to the Shrishti Karta, Brahma, who's made the Shrishti, and they said that Brahma, in your Shrishti, one problem has come, that man has forgotten about Dharma and Adharma, and instead man has now focused on Sukh and Dukh. So Brahma agreed. He said, yes, you are right. I can see the problem. But the solution to this problem is also in the Shrishti. The solution is knowledge. That through knowledge, man will become aware of issues of dharma and adharma, and therefore do something so that knowledge is propagated. The knowledge is available already in the Srishti, in the form of Vedas. So the God said that yes, knowledge is available in the Vedas, but the problem with Veda is that it is not accessible to everybody. You need to have some training in grammar, some training in philosophy, some kind of a training in thinking for you to make sense with the of the Veda. So why don't you create a fifth Ved, a Pancham Ved, which on one hand will have all the knowledges of Veda, on the other hand will be very simple, that it is accessible to everybody. Nobody needs any special training to access it. So Brahma created the fifth Ved, the Pancham Ved, which is called Natya Shastra, the theory of drama, the treatise of drama. And he said, you take this Natya Shastra, you take this book of drama, and you perform drama. He gave it to the Devtas. But Devtas said that we cannot perform any drama because we don't have any body. To perform a drama, to do some action, you need to have karmindri. You need to have a body with karmindri. So only human beings are capable of doing drama, doing some action. So what they did, they went and they brought Bharat Muni, a human being, and he said, "You take this book of drama," and they gave him 100 sons, 100 children. That you take 100 children, and with them you make the first drama, and you present it in the palace of Indra, the king of gods. So Bharat Muni said, "Okay, give me some time. I will prepare a drama and I'll come back." So after some time, Bharat Muni came and he gave the performance of the first drama in the Darbar of Indra, the king of gods. In the Darbar, all the gods were present, all the Danavas, Rakshasa were present, all the living beings of the Parlok were present in the Darbar of Indra. And the first drama was performed. But the Danav, the Rakshas, interrupted the drama and they made an accusation that this drama, um, it has a bias. In the drama, uh, I'm sorry, I know only English. I will not be able to speak in Telugu, but I'm sure somebody will be able to translate it later. So let me continue. So the Danav raised an objection that uh, in the drama you have shown a war between the Devtas and the Danavas, and in that war the Devtas defeat Danavas. So this is a bias. This is not an objective drama, and they interrupted the drama. So everybody again went to the Srishtikarta Brahma that there is an objection made on the drama that there is a bias towards the Devtas. So Brahma said, yes, that is true, but the bias is not in the drama. This bias is in the Srishti itself. So what the drama is doing, it is just enacting that fundamental bias in the Srishti. And that's all that is it doing. But the Danav did not agree. And they decided to not allow the drama to complete. So the first drama that was performed, it did not get complete. It got interrupted. From there on, whenever Bharat Muni would go and perform any drama anywhere, the Danav will come and the Danavas will interrupt the drama. They will not allow any drama to get completed. They would create vignas, obstacles in the drama. Now, this story is given in the introduction of the book Natya Shastra. I would like your attention on 2-3 important issues here. First, the initial problem was that human being has forgotten about dharma and adharma and has got busy somewhere else. So the solution suggested was that human beings should have access to knowledge. Through knowledge, human beings can access the issue of dharma. That was the first problem. The second problem was that knowledge is available, but its form is very complicated. So ordinary people cannot understand what is knowledge, how to access knowledge. Only specialized training, you need to be an expert to get to knowledge. So that problem was solved by the idea of drama, the idea of art. An art form is a very simplified presentation of knowledge. One does not need any special training to engage with drama. After an age, let's say 5-6 years old child, when the child is able to understand the basic language, drama becomes accessible to him. A child does not need any big degree to be an audience to the drama. So drama or an art form its structure is so simplified that it can communicate deep, complicated knowledge propositions in a very simple way. So much so that even a child is interested in the drama. So that was the second problem. The third problem was that for drama to happen, certain obstacles have to be removed. What is called Danavas, they're presenting some obstacles in the creation of the art form. Like in the drama, what are the obstacles? Like the actor will forget the dialogue. That's an obstacle. Or the stage will crumble, will become very shaky. That's an obstacle. So such obstacles have to be removed for a drama to be performed well. Now, why I'm bringing this here, I was personally interested in the idea of Samaj, to understand what Samaj is. Now, how India has built Samaj. Now, the earliest use of the word Samaj is in this story. The audience which has come together to witness a drama, in this story, in Natya Shastra, the audience is called Samajik. So Samajik are people who come together to witness a drama. I would like to bring your attention to two distinct words here in Hindi. Maybe in Telugu also you will find these two words. In Hindi, there is a word called Samaj, Samaj. And then there's a word called Samaj, Samaj. Samaj is a gathering of animals, and Samaj is a gathering of human beings. And in the Hindi literature, Samaj is also used as sometimes gathering of fools, and Samaj is used as gathering of wise people. What I would like to put forward to you is, let us consider what is so special about a human gathering. Even animals come together, even human beings come together. But how is human gathering, how is Samaj fundamentally distinct from an animal gathering? Samaj. That is the key point I want to present in front of you. So, as I was saying, the audience of a drama is called Samaj, classically. Now, what is happening in a drama, in any drama? And when I say drama, I mean all art forms. A drama is supposed to be a composite art form. It has painting also, it has music also, it has public speech also, it has story also. So it covers all the art forms. So, what is happening in a drama? You see, what happens in a drama is, slowly as the story progresses, the story reaches the point of Dharm Sankat. Some Dharm Sankat it will reach. And then either the drama will finish there at the Dharm Sankat, or the drama will present some solution to the Dharm Sankat. Let me explain this with an example. Like the story of Ram. The story of Ram is a story of somebody who is Maryada Purush, who is always following the Maryada. He follows the Maryada of a son, he follows the Maryada of a husband, of an elder brother, of a prince, of a warrior, of a friend, of an enemy. Whatever Maryadas are there, he follows all the Maryadas. That is the character Ram. Now, slowly as the story progresses, a Dharm Sankat is built. What is the Dharm Sankat? That Ram reaches a point where he has to choose between the Maryada of a king and Maryada of a husband. And he chooses Maryada of king over Maryada of husband. This was a Dharm Sankat in this story. And then the story ends. We know how it ends. Now, this is a very good example. In India, for thousands of years, people have come together every evening. They have witnessed the performance of this story. And together, they have contemplated what is the Dharm Sankat of Ram and the decision he took, whether that was correct or not. Now, this process of people coming together and contemplating on a Dharm Sankat and then contemplating what can we do together for the resolution of Dharm Sankat. This only human beings do. Animals don't do that. Animals come together for what? Either they come together for protection, that if we are together, as a group, then we can protect ourselves better. Or animals come together to hunt together, that if we are together, then we will be able to hunt together. Or they come together to make children, to give birth to the next generation. This is the limited scope of animal gathering. If human beings also do that why should we come together? To give birth to babies or to protect ourselves, then a human gathering is no different from an animal gathering. But human beings come together for a different reason fundamentally. Together we contemplate on a Dharm Sankat of our time. And then together we decide what can we do collectively to resolve the Dharm Sankat. That is the mandate of Samaj. And this is the difference between Samaj and society. Society, the idea of society began in Europe when people who had properties, land, house, they came together to form a society so that they can protect the property together, so that they can put pressure on the king to protect the property. That is the mandate of society. The mandate of Samaj is something else. The mandate of Samaj is to together contemplate on Dharma Sankat of our times and then find out what can we do to resolve the Dharma Sankat. And for this, we engage with art. When we listen to a story, when we watch a film, when we watch a drama, or when we watch something else, a song, it immerses us. In this story, there is a very nice word called sadharanikaran. Its English translation is immersion. Unless we get immersed in a drama, we cannot appreciate the Dharma Sankat it presents. And unless we appreciate the Dharma Sankat, we cannot think of a solution. So, for a drama to succeed, the audience should be able to immerse and contemplate together in the Dharma Sankat it presents. Now, let me continue the story further. The story, where I stopped the story, was at a point where the Danav are not allowing any drama to complete. They are putting obstacles in the drama. Like I mentioned, obstacles like the actor forgets the dialogue, or the actor gets nervous on the stage, or the stage becomes unstable. Such, there are many obstacles. And when we do training of drama, what is the training essentially about? That we train ourselves in a way that we remove all these obstacles. Now, you would appreciate the point that any obstacle in a drama can break the immersion of the audience. So, if I am the audience and I'm immersed in a drama, and suppose the actor forgets his dialogue and takes a pause where the pause was not supposed to be taken because he's trying to remember, this pause will break my immersion. You see, that is what actually also happens in our Jeevan Vidya Shivir. In a Shivir, the success of a Shivir depends on how immersed the audience was. Because the longer the immersion, the more depth the audience can go into. And the shorter the immersion, the more shallow the discussion will be. So, although I mean, a Shivir is not a drama in a sense, but it is also a form of an art form where there's an audience who have come from different places. They're sitting together for 7 days, 5 days, whatever is the length, and together they are contemplating on deeper issues which are not limited to our daily, material life, but more deeper issues. In fact, we say that a 7 day Shivir is necessary because it takes a few days for the audience to immerse. It's very difficult in a Shivir, in a 1 day Shivir because the immersion will not be very deep. That's why the 7 day Shivir were designed. So this immersion is essential for the success of any collective contemplation. Together we get immersed. Now, what happens in this story is that Brahmaji says that let us build a Krida Sthal, a playhouse, an auditorium. This auditorium will keep out all the vignas, all the obstacles. So, like in an auditorium, any sound which is outside will not come inside, and so it will not break our immersion. In an auditorium, no light from outside will break our immersion. If there is rain happening outside, if there is a storm outside, it will not break our immersion. An auditorium is a closed space with the purpose that the audience should get immersed in the drama. So Brahmaji said, let us build a playhouse. This playhouse will keep the Danavas outside so that the audience can get immersed and become samajik. The condition of samajik is together we get immersed into the drama. Now, when I looked into Natya Shastra,
21 hours.
when I looked into Natya Shastra, I noticed something very interesting. They have mentioned some possible obstacles which can disturb the drama, like forgetting a dialogue, bad acting, bad music, very unstable stage. But there were also some obstacles which had nothing to do with drama, like the fear of drought. What if there's not enough to eat? Or the fear of falling ill, ill health, or the fear of violence, or the fear of attack from an enemy country. Now, I was thinking that how can an auditorium protect us from such fear? No, it is true that if I'm worried about tomorrow, if I'm worried that tomorrow I will have enough to eat or not, if I'm worried if tomorrow I will be safe or not, if I'm worried tomorrow I will be healthy or not, then yes, these worries will not allow me to get immersed into the drama. So this is an obstacle. But the question is, how can an auditorium remove these obstacles? An auditorium cannot do that. So it clicked to me that this auditorium is actually a village in India. You see, what is the purpose of a village? The purpose of a village, in the words of Sri Ravindra Sharma Guruji, is to make everybody feel secured about tomorrow. In his words, आहार की सुरक्षा, a security of livelihood, and काम का गौरव, and respect for all. That is what the village is ensuring. So in a village, when we live, if a village is functioning well as it is supposed to function, all the families are supposed to be assured about tomorrow, that they will have enough to eat, that there will be no problem of security. If they fall ill, they will be taken care of. Their children will get married. Whatever worries we have about tomorrow are all supposed to be taken care by the village. Why? Because only when we are assured about tomorrow, we are willing to sit and watch a drama. It is very unfair to ask somebody to watch the story of Ram and contemplate on his Dharma Sankat when he himself doesn't know whether tomorrow he will get a job or not, whether tomorrow he will get married or not. Right? It doesn't happen. So I realized that a village should be seen like an auditorium whose purpose is to allow people to come together and get immersed in a story that is being told. Why? Because through that immersion, people can together contemplate on the Dharma Sankat. What Dharma Sankat? Stories narrate the Dharma Sankat of our times. In whatever times we live, the stories narrate the Dharma Sankat of our times. And only when we focus on that, we can think of its resolution and then work towards that. But if people are worried about tomorrow, busy earning, finding a job, then even in a job, they are worried about whether they will have the job tomorrow or not. All these worries which we have, which keeps us busy all the time, it takes away our scope to engage with art, to engage with stories, to engage with the problem the stories present. So just to conclude this, and then we can have a question answer. What we see as the jati vyavastha, not the caste system, as the jati vyavastha in the Indian village was this. Its mandate was that every family in the village has a secured livelihood. Its livelihood is not challenged. In fact, what we see today as India is one of biggest problem of India is unemployment. People are unemployed. If I am employed, my son may not be employed. Now this worry is constantly there. I want to very humbly make a claim here that the problem of unemployment is new in India, and it's a direct result of the breaking of the jati vyavastha. So the first thing the jati vyavastha ensured was that all the families have a secured livelihood. And the second thing that it ensured, in the words of Guruji, every jati has a kam ka gaurav, has a respect of the work it is engaging with. With these two things ensured, a village invited many artist communities. In India, in fact, in this region, in the Telangana, Andhra region, I have made a list uh, with the help of, in fact, Professor Tirumal Rao gave me this list, that there are at least 72 artist jatis in the combined Telangana Andhra region. Somebody is playing a veena, somebody is doing patachitra, somebody is doing some dance, somebody is doing some drama performance. And all through the year, they would be visiting the village and performing one story or the another. So the Jati Vyavastha gave patronage to these communities so that there is an atmosphere of art performers all through the year. Why? So that people are constantly engaging with art. Why? Because in art, through art, they are contemplating on the dharma sankat, and then together making a resolve on what to do to resolve those dharma sankat. That is what is happening broadly in the Indian village. Uh, the details are many, which the time is not there to share, but I will stop here for now. If there are any questions, I can take it up, or I will then continue. I will briefly give the details of this system. If so far what I have said has any questions, please ask me.
Sir, this is Ram Mohan Namidai here. I have a point which you can
Yes,
take
sir.
it forward.
Yeah, I'll take it, sir.
The growth, how the world runs is one point. World runs based on the contribution of each of the individual to the extent of their potential and intention. That is how the world goes on. This is one thing. The changes that come in the world are evolutionary at some point and revolutionary at some other point. In the initial days, it was evolutionary in the sense bit by bit, slowly. And now in the last 40, 50 or 100 years, it is revolutionary, means fast changes. From this point of view, these two things, how the world goes on daily, how the changes come in the world, this you can incorporate in the, to the extent you see from your own angle, you can.
Okay, I will think about it. I'm not sure if I fully understood it. You see, with humility, I would like to request, these are not innocent words, revolution, evolution. Although we use them, in our day-to-day life, but so I'll think about it. I don't know what it means by evolutionary and revolutionary. I'll think about it. But if anybody can respond to these few points, that it is the knowledge which gives us access to the problem of dharma and adharma, and it is the art whose purpose is to present knowledge in a very simple way. And the third point, Samaj is a coming together of human beings with the purpose of resolving a dharma sankat through knowledge. And it is very distinct from society. Society's purpose is nothing to do with dharma sankat. Society is about maintaining property. So today in India we have societies where we worry about things like everybody's property should be secured, or everybody should have equal property, or everybody's property should have uh, a toilet, or everybody's property should have electricity. All these worries may be important. I'm not denying their importance, but these worries have got nothing to do with Samaj, but to do with society. Samaj gets built when together we come and contemplate on the dharma sankat of our times, and then think how do we resolve them and what we can do together for dharma sthapna, the resolution of dharma sankat. Yes, yes, Sri Lakshmi Garu.
Sir, namaste.
Namaste.
While I was listening to you, I was curious to know whether the base of the village is same everywhere in the world, or if there is any peculiarity of Indian village. How should we understand it?
Yes, I think this is peculiar to Indian village because the idea of dharma is peculiar to India. By dharma, I do not mean religion. No, those are different cultures. But I'm sure you understand, because you're aware, familiar with Jeevan Vidya,
Yes, sir.
what dharma is. Okay, so there are certain dharma sankat. Like for example, in our times, one dharma sankat is that wherever I will find my livelihood, my parents will not be there. My parents are in the village, but for my livelihood, I have to go to Hyderabad or Bangalore or US. So, should I go for my livelihood or should I take care of my parents? This is a dharma sankat which many of us are facing. It's a
Yes, sir.
typical dharma sankat of our times. How do we solve this? Is a question of contemplation and action. Similarly, there are many dharma sankat. A dharma sankat is an interesting situation where you cannot say that this person is right and this person is wrong. You know, like in the story of Ram, it is not possible to say whether Ram was right or Sita was right. But there is a conflict between the two. How to resolve that is an issue of interest. And whatever conflict that is, we will see reflection of the same conflict in our times also. So that is something I think is happening uniquely in the Indian villages and not outside.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I have one question.
Yes, sir.
So it may be the repetitive that what you said previous point. Basically, I'm a software engineer. My ancestors used to have a agriculture farming background in the village. Now, because of the job purpose, I came out of the India. I'm living here. But my aspiration is to go back to my village and engage with natural farming. But when I'm thinking about my next generation, the education, so there are two things that runs in mind. So should I continue with my job career? Should I leave this and switch my platform where I love, where I think that I will be happy with the farming, but what will happen to my next generation about their education system is an example what just you quoted. How
Yes.
we can take that decision forward is that.
Yes. So my point was, it doesn't matter what decision you take as an individual.
Mhm.
The issue is we are all suffering from this. How do we resolve this situation collectively for all?
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
may go back to the village, I may not go back to my village. So individually
Mhm.
we have taken decisions. But the point of contemplation is how do we resolve it for the times to
Mhm.
come?
Mhm.
When we do that, we start the process of forming a Samaj. That is, we come together to resolve a Dharma Sankat. It is not easy to resolve a Dharma Sankat. It can take generations, I think, to resolve Dharma Sankat. As individuals, we may take some decisions, this decision, that decision. So like you may take a decision that I will quit my job and go back to the village. Now the Samaj will watch you. Okay,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
went back to the village.
Mhm.
What has happened of him? What has happened of his children? And then
Yeah.
again it will contemplate, was that the right decision to take, or was it not the right
Yeah.
decision to take?
Yeah.
This is a process which happens, and it will happen for generations. My limited point was limited. I had 2 points. One, this is a samajic activity. The samajic activity is to come together and contemplate on such issues, not on issues of material comfort. And my
Okay.
second point was that the mandate of a village, whether it is this village or that village, is that everybody who's living there feels assured about tomorrow. You see, right now I am living in America. I'll tell you a very interesting crisis in America, which you and I will be able to relate. In India, our worry is that we have to find our own job. Nobody will help us get a job. And for which we have to
Yeah.
do all kind of hard work, study well, prepare well.
Mhm.
But we don't have a worry whether we will get married or not. We know we will get married. Either I will find a nice girl for myself. If I don't, my parents, my uncle, aunts, somebody will find a nice girl for me. We are assured about marriage. In America, people have both the worries. They have to find their own jobs,
Yeah.
and they also have to find their own partner.
Correct.
You see, we must appreciate this. Now, I want you to imagine 2, 3 generations back. In the jati vyavastha, there is not even the worry of livelihood. The fact that you're born in the jati vyavastha, your livelihood is assured about tomorrow. That assurance which was there is what we have missed today. Today, everybody has to now work from scratch to find a job.
Yeah.
But at least we don't have to worry about getting married. It's such a basic, very basic assurance about tomorrow that we will get married.
In a couple of lines, could you tell like how Jati Vyavastha ensured livelihood?
Yes, let me describe that. Thank you. So, you see, what is happening in a Jati Vyavastha is, see, it is said that a village, a stable village, is made out of 365 jatis. There are 365 different occupations, work that is happening, which makes a village economically stable. Now, how is the assurance provided? Suppose I am a potter, and in this village, we have 4 potter families. Now, what we do is, amongst ourselves, we divide the village into 4 parts or 4 zones. So the eastern part of village is my Jajmani. The western part of village is Suman's Jajmani. The southern part is somebody else's, and the northern part. So 4 potter families have divided the village into 4 parts. I will come to this question. It is an important question. Let me describe this first. So we are 4 potter families, and we have divided the village into 4 equal parts economically, which means that I will make all the pots, all that a potter makes for the eastern part of the village. Suman will not encroach on that part of the village. Similarly, I will not encroach on Suman's part of the village. So this encroachment on each other's clientele, each other's Jajmani is not allowed. As a result of which, I am assured of a dedicated income through the year. Right? That's one. Second, so this is what we potters have done. Similarly, let's suppose there are 2 families of Lohar, ironsmith. Yes, madam, I will come to that question. Suppose there are 2 families of Lohar, ironsmith. Now these have divided the village into two parts. So this half of the village, this Lohar, this ironsmith will work for, this part of the village, this ironsmith will. So all the jatis amongst themselves divide the village into respective fixed clienteles called jajmani. This fixed jajmani is what brings the a dedicated income through the year. That's one. Second, in jati vyavastha, all production activity is happening inside the family, not outside the family. In Jeevan Vidya, we also say that the family is the place of prosperity. The prosperity is happening in the family. So all production is happening inside the family. You see, it is very interesting that in 1750, it is estimated that India's contribution to the world's industrial production was 25-30%. 30% of what was produced industrially in the world was produced in India. But this production was not happening in any factory. There were no factories in India. This production was happening in the homes, in the households of the numerous jatis. So I'm a potter, I make pots. This pot is being made in my home. He's a ironsmith, he's making tools inside his home. He's a weaver, he's weaving cloth inside his home. So all production, all economic activity is happening inside the family. What does it mean? It means two things. One, the individual is not an economic unit. A family is an economic unit. So whatever income is happening, the income is of the family, not the individual. That's one. Second, because everything is happening in the house, my child learns all the skills of a potter by growing up in the house. To learn the skill of pottery, my child doesn't have to go outside to learn. As the child grows in the family, he learns the skill of the pottery and he inherits the market, the jajmani, right? Third, in every work that is happening, both the man and the woman are participating. Let me repeat this. In every work, pottery, farming, blacksmith, weaving, whatever work is there in the jati, both the man and woman have dedicated role to play. They may be unequal roles, but dedicated role to play. Like for example, I come from a farmer's family in Western UP. In our area, the plowing of the field, the preparation of the field is done by the man. Once the field is prepared, the woman comes and sows the seed. And then later, at the time of the harvest, both man and the woman together harvest the crop. You will see this in all jati professions. Both man and woman are participating in production. It is in the factory model, this problem happens. That what is the factory? Factory is a place of production outside the family. So somebody in the morning has to leave his family, go out for production, and then come back in the evening. In this case, one person has to go and one person has to stay back in the family to take care of the children, to take care of the elderlies. So the man goes out for production and the woman is forced to stay back. This is a very modern problem. There is no traditional problem because all production is happening in the family. Third, most important thing is, because production is happening in the family, all my habits in the family, my food habit, whether I eat very spicy food or less spicy food, whether I eat more ghee or less ghee, all my habits, my sleeping habit, my way of dressing, my songs, my medicines, everything is customized to my profession. So I am a potter and you are a weaver. We both live in the same village, but our lifestyle will be very diverse. The way I tie my dhoti will be different from the way you tie your dhoti. The way the food I eat will be different from the food you eat, although we are living in the same village. Why? Because every habit of the family is tied to our respective professions, right? So in fact, my actual thesis was, why is India so diverse? What is the source of diversity in India? We assume that India is diverse across regions. From South India to North India and from East India to West India, we're diverse. No. Within the same village, we have diversity. In the same village, the 365 jatis will have diverse traditions, diverse habits. Why? Because all their habits are tied to their occupation, their profession, which is happening um in the family. So coming back to the point, how is economic security ensured for tomorrow? Because everyone has a secured clientele called Jajmani, and everyone learns the skill in the family itself. We don't have to go out to learn the skill. Now, the question was, can a child of a potter switch to the child of a different jati? So, in principle, it is possible, but there's a protocol. What is the protocol? So, let's say, like I mentioned, we are 4 potter families in this village, and we have divided the village into 4 parts. And there are, let's say, 2 weaver families in the village who have divided the village into 2 parts. Now, let's suppose my son does not want to be a potter. He wants to be a weaver. Now, how is this switch possible? So, yes, that's what I'm trying to answer. So, suppose my son does not want to do pottery, but wants to do weaving. So, how is this switch possible? 2 things are needed. One, we potters should agree to redivide the village now into 3 parts, because our workload will increase. So we should allow him to leave and divide this into 3 parts. On the other hand, the weavers who have divided the village into 2 parts should agree to divide the village into 3 parts, because a new member will enter. When these 2 things happen, a switch is possible. That's one. But this switch, what does the switch means? The switch doesn't mean that he stops making pots and starts making sadis. It means that all his habits make a switch. Up till now, his habit was that of a potter. His eating habit, his sleeping habit, his festivals, his cultural appreciation. All that switches to that of a weaver. Then this switch is possible, right? So this switch is technically possible, but it's a difficult switch. And people did not feel much need of that, because every profession was giving them an assured livelihood for tomorrow, right? Yes, the priest, yes. You see, every jati, I must clarify this before I come to this question. We often confuse between jati and varna. Varna and jati are distinct categories. This confusion should be resolved. There are 4 varnas, we know, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. But there are lakhs of jatis. In 1890, the second census of India, the first census happened in 1872. In 1890, the British did a census of India, and they listed 2,30,000 jatis in India. 2,30,000 jatis. Now, for simple calculation, let us assume the population of India was 23 crores that time. If we divide 23 crore by 2,30,000, an average jati size is 1,000 people. So a jati, what does a jati mean? A collection of 500, 600, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 people. That's all. A jati is a very local phenomena, relevant in the local context of a few hundred people. Now, what happened in the times, in the British times, they tried to map jati with varna. So they decided that all these jatis will become Brahmins. All these jatis will now be called Kshatriyas. All these jatis will now be called Vaishyas. All these jatis will now be called Shudras. This mapping of jati with varna is what is now we know as caste system, not jati vyavastha. And this mapping has caused a lot of confusion in the society. So the question that was being asked was, can anybody be a priest in the temple? So every jati has all the four varnas in it. Every jati has its Brahmins. Every jati has its Kshatriyas. Every jati has its Vaishyas. Every jati has its Shudras. Every jati has its own temples with its own Brahmins. Yes, yes. For example, I'll explain this. For example, in India, in Indian Army, we have something called Jat regiment.
And
Now, Jats are farmers, Vaishya. They are not Kshatriya. Or we have something called Mahar regiment. Mahar people were leather workers, but brave fighters, very brave fighters. So every jati had people who were expert in war games. Every jati had its priests, people who would narrate stories, people who would resolve disputes, people who will marry their children, people who will observe their festivities. Then every jati also had their vaishyas, people who would take the produce for a international market. So suppose we are 4 families of a potter, we have made the pots for the village, but we still have time. So we can make pots for an international market or a national market. And then one of us amongst the 4 will be responsible of taking these pots, selling them off, bringing the money. He becomes our Vaishya, our Baniya. So my proposal is that jati and varn are different, distinct. In all the jatis, you will find all the 4 varnas. In fact, if you think carefully, in every family you will find the 4 varnas. If I have 4 children, one of them by nature may be of interested in knowledge, intellectual. Can you tell Brahmin in? Yes, yes. People in potters who do marriages, who do rituals in potters, are there Brahmins? So a varn is not a source of livelihood. A jati is a source of livelihood. What has happened in today's caste system, what we say caste system, is this mapping of varna and jati. Because of 2 things have happened in this caste system. One, we have said that we should not have fixed clientele. There should be free market. Anybody should be allowed to buy and sell to anybody. As a result of which, few people have encroached upon the clientele of hundreds of people. So you can have a situation in India where a cloth factory owner has encroached upon the clientele of thousands of weavers, and he's not sorry about it. The other thing that has happened is that because varn and jati have got mixed, the hierarchy has become fixed. In jati, the hierarchy is not fixed, it is rotational. In some context, I am your jajman. In some other context, you are my jajman. But when we map it with varna, the hierarchy becomes fixed. Now, these are all documented things I'm saying.
Harsh, may I request you to also briefly touch upon how is the respect part ensured between the jatis?
Yes, good. So you see what is happening. Any exchange is happening through a ritual. So if I am making pots and I give pots to you, let's suppose your son is getting married, and for that marriage purpose I'm making some pots. In that marriage, there will be a special ritual to honor your potter. So according to Guruji Ravindra Sharma, every jati enjoys 12 occasions of man in 1 year. There are 12 occasions in 1 year for where every jati is publicly acknowledged that yes, you have done this. You know, it's a form of respect. This I'm talking about the Adilabad region. I'm sure the number will vary from across regions. But the point is that no exchange is just like that. It is a ritualistic exchange. There is a ritual of giving pots. There is a ritual of giving grains. There is a ritual of giving tools. Through this ritual, your contribution is acknowledged. So interestingly, every jati has a jati Puran. So the potters will have a jati Puran. The weavers have jati Puran. In every jati Puran, the question is asked, which is the highest jati? And every jati Puran says, we are the highest jati. So a farmer thinks, I am the highest jati because I make food. If I don't produce food, people will go hungry. The potter thinks we are the highest jati because we make vessel to store water. If you don't make that vessel, people can't store water. The ironsmith, the lohar thinks we are the highest jati because we make tools. If people don't have tools, they can't make anything. So the self-image of every jati is that we are the center of the world. If we are not there, the world will collapse. That is the self-image. Nobody is worried about what the other person is thinking about us, but this is what we think about ourselves. The question is, what is Dharma? I don't know what is Dharma. I'm sure in Jeevan Vidya we can have enough good discussion on that. Dharma essentially means the essence of something. So the essence of a tree is the dharma of a tree. The essence of water is dharma of water. The essence of a human being is the dharma of a human being. But then I'm not only a human being, I'm also a father, I'm also a brother, I'm also a husband. So there are dharmas of brother, there are dharmas of father. So it's another discussion what dharma is. But the
Yeah,
concept
that's
dharma
wonderful.
is, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to invite the audience to unmute themselves and ask their questions.
Yes,
Yes,
sir,
yes.
sure. This is Sridevi from Hyderabad.
Ah,
Hi. Yeah.
right.
So, first of all, it was very insightful and a very eye-opening way that you have explained all your work and thesis. Thank you so much. I believe it's not just 1 hour session. It should be a very long series of sessions. So, I just wanted to know, like, how is in such a diversity, how is that unity ensured?
Ah.
And is it a barter system that was working in between this? And how the year-long work was ensured? Like, say, food is a requirement of daily, but say the pottery is not daily a necessity or something like that. So
Yes,
definitely, it's
yes,
time differences there with these works.
yes, yes.
So
Thank you.
how are these? Yeah, right. Thank
So
you.
this is exactly why this is not a barter system. Again, I would request you to not think in translation. What I have described is not a barter system for exactly the same reason you have said. Let me explain. You see, a barter system is I have tomatoes, you have potatoes. I need potatoes, you need tomatoes. So we meet, we exchange, and we go back. The problem is, what if I don't need potato that day? Or you don't need tomato that day? Then how do we exchange? So that is not what is happening here. Here what is happening is I am your potter. Whenever you need pots, I will give you. For whatever occasion you need pots, I will give you. Later, when the crop gets harvested, I will come to your field and I will take my share of the crop. So the exchange that is happening, Sridevi, very important. The exchange that is happening is delayed in time. It is not immediate exchange. Number one. Number two, it is always an unequal exchange because there is no way to say how many pots are equal to how many grains, right? So it's an unequal exchange. With your family, I have an understanding that I will take, let's say, 10 kg of grains. With Suman's family, I have an understanding that I will take 5 kg of grains from him. But I may be supplying equal amount of pots to both of you. So the exchange is delayed in time, the exchange is unlimited, unequal, and the exchange is unfinished. We assume that some debt has remained on you and some debt has remained on me. And we will continue this arrangement next year and in the next generation as a repayment of this debt. So it is not a barter, because the exchange is not immediate, the exchange is not equal. That's one. The other question was, what is the other? The first question was even more important.
So how is unity ensured in such a big
Unity
time?
ensured. Very nice.
Yeah.
So you see, in a village there are 365 jatis,
Mhm.
and everything is diverse for them.
True.
Their food habit, their clothing habit, their daily routine, their festivals, everything is diverse. What is the unifying factor? The unifying factor is the interest in dharma, in the interest in resolution of dharma sankat.
Mhm.
So it is the Samaj which makes us united. So you have a different, you are in Hyderabad, you speak Telugu, I am in Delhi, I speak Hindi, you have certain food habits, I have certain food habits. Your festivals are different, my festivals are different. What unites us? Our common interest in resolving the Dharam Sankat of our times. It is this which is the unifying factor in a village, or so, in any human gathering.
Right. Yeah, very interesting. That means we had such a humanistic system, which is now completely trashed by this money or the economic system, is what is understood. Thank you for that
Yes,
clarification.
yes.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sridhar.
So what one of the questions that's coming is, how credible is this information? Is this just imagination, or did it really exist? If yes, how much of it is documented, or is there any evidence for such a system?
Well, whatever I have said is documented. And I mean, how do I answer this question? If you can ask me anything specific, I can tell you, like 230,000 castes were listed in the 1892 census. You can go and check. Like 365 village, 365 jatis make a palli. Palli in Telugu means a village. It's documented. I mean, what else should I say?
No, yeah, I mean, maybe you can give some examples of documents, like a book by Dharampalji, or for example, or
Okay. So
yeah,
one good book is,
where can
yeah,
people read about such beautiful systems of villages? What, maybe you can give some
yes.
references.
So this is a book, one of my favorite books. I can present two books to you. This is the book called The Hindu Jajmani System by Weiser. This was written in 1929, I think. The observations he has made is what I have shared with you. His conclusions are different, but the observations he has made is one. Another book is, I don't know, wait, somewhere here. Please note it down. The Castes of Mind by a man called Nicholas Dirks. Castes of Mind by Nicholas Dirks. He explains how jati and varna were clubbed together to make the modern caste. It's a very important book to read. Then there are the work of Sundarlal, for example, or economic historian R.C. Majumdar. They tell us the extent of industrial activity that is happening in India, the amount of cloth that is being produced, the amount of iron that is being produced. R.C. Majumdar wrote Economic History of India in 2 volumes, and Pandit Sundarlal wrote अंग्रेजों में भारत में अंग्रेजों का राज in 2 volumes. In fact, this book got banned by the British, and only after independence this book was again published by the government. It tells us how systematically the British destroyed our village system as policies, and it gives a good account of that. The work of Dharampal, as Suman mentioned, is a very, very important work. Dharampal ji wrote many books. One book is called The Beautiful Tree, where he's giving the description of education in India before the British came here. So in India, you can check this, The Beautiful Tree by Dharampal. In India, every village has at least one school, Pathshala, number one. Number two, the students who are studying in the Pathshala, 70% of the students, the British are calling them outcast. Today we call them Dalits. 30% of people are students who belong to, the British call them higher caste. So this impression we have that in India, education was limited to the few, is totally false. 70% of students studying in villages, in village schools, in the words of British, are outcasts or lower castes. Not my words, British words. Then he gives a detail of what is being taught in these schools. So Ramayana, Mahabharata are being taught in school, but with that astronomy has been taught, maths has been taught, dance has been taught. So there's a list of tark, logic is been taught. There's a whole list of subjects that are taught in these schools. So this book's name is The Beautiful Tree by Dharampal. It's a good book to read to know the education system in the British India.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Harsh. May I now request any other questions from the audience to the speaker?
Sir, I am Ram Mohan Navile again from Hyderabad.
Yes.
It's a very general question, sir. We live in present with the experience of the past, with the hope on the future. We have past, present, in future. That is one thing. My point is that whatever is documented, which is in the form of book or whatever other form, may not be authentic. How to check the authenticity? I can write any book. It's only an opinion. Majority, it is opinion. Maybe part of it is true. Part of it may not be true. This is one thing. Second thing is that whatever is the past that is relevant to the present, that only we should grab it and use it. The past which is not relevant to the present, I think we should not take cognizance of it, or we may have a little what you call,
Okay.
keep it.
So it's a good question. The first question I don't have an answer to. You can choose what you want to believe, what you don't want to believe. The second question is very important. You see, let me explain this to you. Some of my friends think that why look at the past? Let us build a new future. In the olden days, there was a Hindi film song. I think Sunil Dutt was a film actor. छोड़ो कल की बातें, कल की बात पुरानी. आओ मिलकर लिखें एक नई कहानी. Let us leave the old stories. Let us build a new story. So some friends believe there's no use looking at the past. Let's look at the future. Then I have some friends who think it is important to look at the past. Why? Because we should learn from the mistakes in the past. It is foolish to commit the same mistake again. So when we look at the past, we learn from the mistakes so that we should not repeat the same mistakes. Now, I disagree with both these standpoints. There are some friends who believe that past is reliable. Why? Because it has stood test of time. Whatever we imagine for the future has stood test of our imagination, test of our logic. But past has stood test of time. So we should look at the past to find reliable solutions. For example, if I want to make a house, which is not only comfortable house, which is also eco-friendly house, which is also a reasonably cheap house. For this, I can look into the past and I will know how to make such a house. For example, if my question is how to grow good food, which is not only healthy, but it is also making the soil healthy. For this question, I can find answer in the past. There are so many questions which past will give reliable answers. If I have a fight with my wife, how do I resolve this fight? I look at the story of Ram or somebody else. So my simple, humble submission to you is, the past is so vast, it is beginningless, that it is very, very difficult to find a new problem. All the problems which we have happened before, and people have found their solutions, and those solutions have stood test of time. That's why I think we should look at past. It is reliable. This does not mean that we should recreate the past. That is not possible. But we should have a sense of past. We should have a good sense of past.
Well said, sir. You said a wonderful statement that past is vast. Number one. Number two, we have another saying is that in Mahabharata, there is nothing outside in the world which is not there in Mahabharata, and vice versa. That is, whatever is there in Mahabharata, it is always in the world. And these are time universals in the sense, in the present, past, and future, they hold good. And
Yes.
Universal. Whether it is in America, Africa, India, it will hold good. Time universal and place universal. Thank you. Nice.
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, Raman brother. Anybody else on any other questions?
Namaste. Thank you so much for your valuable information. That systems are still exist in few villages when I observe. Like Dobi, he used to wash all the village people clothes. They used to go to river and all other places, and they are so tired. So that's why when they are giving the clothes to the houses, every family used to give rice and dal, etc. Like they no need to cook in the evening. That system is so beautiful. Nothing related to money. Everybody has to give food to them. So because they are so tired in the morning to evening, they work. They are at a nadi and all river places. That system still exists. Like that,
Yes.
all caste systems, nothing to related money. But they used to be very, very happy. Actually, I think that British system, education system, what we learned, we lost sensitivity, and I don't want to say other words. Always arguing. Just to come back to villages, please, the people who are sitting at cities, just observe the people, get the knowledge. We are almost lost knowledge because of Ravindra Sharma ji and few other people, noble people. They preserved, still exist in the villages. Please come and stay in the villages, and our system, beautiful system of our village system. Thank you so much. Really, I'm recollecting all the things when you spoke about all these systems. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, madam. I would like to narrate a very small story here. Sridevi, I hope you are there. You're listening to this.
Yeah.
So I had gone to a village near Chenna Kothapalli, in Andhra, near Anandpur. This is 10 years ago. And I met a shepherd there. He was the last shepherd in the village because all the youngsters had given up shepherding. He was an old man, 90 years old man, and he was the last shepherd in the village. So he showed me a round ball of wool thread, a thread like this of wool. And he gave me a piece of thread and he tied it on my wrist, a wool thread. He said in his village, when a marriage happens, the last ritual of the marriage is the shepherd coming and tying a wool thread on the wrist of the boy, the groom. This is the last ceremony of the wedding. In return of this one thread, he gets a sack of grains, he gets a dhoti, his wife gets a sari, and he gets some cash. that was my first experience which opened my eyes. The question was, one thread is worth of so much. This we can see even today, especially in marriages. We can see such rituals. And Sridevi, this will not happen in barter system, where one thread is worth a sack
True.
full of grains and a sari and a dhoti.
So it was the medicinal value you are saying about the thread?
No, ritualistic value. That the
Okay.
shepherd's thread is the conclusion of the marriage.
Excellent.
And as the samman of the shepherd, as the honorarium of the shepherd, he gets this. Not because of the thread, but because that family has a jajmani with the shepherd.
Excellent.
And if you, some of you may have been present in our previous discussion, this film which we have made, Bhed Chal, if you see, it will show you this relation between the farmer and the shepherd, where the dung is being exchanged with grains, and it is a delay in time.
Yeah, true. Yeah, both of these sessions are really eye-opening, and we
In
are
fact,
able
let
to
me just add one
benefits.
line here. You see, I come from Delhi. Every winter, Delhi has a complaint of smog, air
Correct.
pollution. Why? Because farmers in Punjab and Haryana, they
Burning
burn
there.
their crop residue. So that burning of crop residue pollutes Delhi. Why this is happening? Because the farmers of Punjab and Haryana now don't have any relationship with the shepherds. Because otherwise, what will happen? The shepherds will come and the sheep will graze over the crop residue. The farmer doesn't have to burn the crop residue. But now, because the shepherds have stopped coming, the farmer has to clear the crop residue himself. And the cheapest way is to burn it. This problem is not there in Hyderabad because people around there still have shepherds and who come to the farms and clean up the farms.
True.
And also, I guess Padmaji mentioned one thing about dhobi. I think the first roti is also given to dhobi, right? That's the
The
ritual.
first roti of the house is given to the dhobi. That's right.
Yeah. Yes.
That's right.
So,
Okay. Raghavendra Garu,
Good
you
morning.
have any
Yeah.
question?
శ్రీదేవి గారు
చెప్పండి
మీరు ట్రాన్స్లేట్ చేస్తారంటే నేను తెలుగులో చెప్తారు అనమాట.
యా ఇంకొన్ని క్వశ్చన్స్ ఉన్నాయండి.
ఓకే, ఇబ్బంది లేదు. జస్ట్ ఏంటంటే ఇది చాలా వ్యాక్సిట్ సబ్జెక్టు. ఒక గంటలో అందరూ ఇన్వాల్వ్ అయ్యి తీసుకోవాలన్న కూడా కష్టం. కాబట్టి కంటిన్యూషన్ లో కానీ లేకపోతే దీనికి సొల్యూషన్ ఏంటంటే పల్లెటూరు వాతావరణం, జీవన విద్య రిలేటెడ్ కదా.
రైట్.
అయితే దీనికి ఏంటంటే సపరేట్ షేడ్ లో కొన్ని క్లాసులు రన్ అయితే గానీ మనలో ఉన్న మంచి కానీ లేదా మనం ఏం చేయాలి చేసేది అనేది అవగాహన వస్తుంది అనేది అభిప్రాయం. ఇప్పుడు అదే సార్ కళ్యాణం చెప్పేది ఏంటంటే, ఇప్పుడు మనం కుండలు అతనికి డబ్బులు ఇచ్చేవారు, అంటే విలేజ్ లో షేరింగ్ అన్నట్టు. ప్రతిదీ చాకలికి డబ్బులు ఇచ్చేవారు. అంటే పెళ్లి అకేషన్స్ లో గానీ, ఇంట్లో శుభకార్యాలు గానీ అశుభకార్యాలు గానీ రెండిట్లో అన్ని కులాల వాళ్ళు ఇన్వాల్వ్మెంట్ ఉండేది. వాళ్ళకి దగ్గర 4-5 ఫ్యామిలీస్ ఇస్తే వాళ్ళ సంవత్సరం మొత్తం తిండి జరిగేది అన్నట్టు.
రైట్. కరెక్ట్.
అంటే చాలా తక్కువ టైంలో చాలా వ్యాక్స్ సబ్జెక్ట్ కాబట్టి సారు.
అవునండి, అదే ఆయన చెప్పింది. లైక్ 12 రిచువల్స్ లో ఎన్ష్యూర్ చేసేవారు అనేది రవీంద్ర శర్మ గారి లెక్క. సో హర్ష్, మేబీ యూ కెన్ బ్రీఫ్లీ మెన్షన్ హౌ ఫ్రమ్ బర్త్ టు ద డెత్ ఆఫ్ ఎ పర్సన్, హౌ ద రిచువల్స్ హ్యావ్ బీన్, లైక్ హౌ ద జాతీస్ హ్యావ్ బీన్ ఇంటిగ్రేటెడ్ ఇన్ టు ద లైఫ్ ఆఫ్ ఎ హ్యూమన్ బీయింగ్. He was referring to how he's asking the same thing. How is that integration done?
Yeah, so you see, anything that is happening, like a birth of a child, it does not happen alone. Different people come together to assist the birth of a child. Like Rabindra Sharma ji used to say that the wife of the barber would come to assist the delivery of the child. The wife of the potter will bring a small earthen pot in which the the umbilical cord will be put. Similarly, all the rituals we see, even today, all the rituals we see is actually a market for somebody else in our life. The crisis today is that the market is not of our village now. So if I'm performing a ritual, I'm spending money and this money is going to some factory, some industry. This money is not going to my potter or my weaver or my ironsmith. That is the problem today. The ritual is designed in such a way that we spend on people with our judge money. So, I mean, in different areas, we have different rituals throughout the life. But this is the key to a ritual. And I
Nice.
think even today, if you see our marriages, in our marriages, we do take into account such things, that who are we spending? Where is the money going?
Nice. Thank you so much, Harsh. We have a question from Sailaja, madam, and maybe one or two, and then we'll close. We are already at the end of the session.
Yeah, good morning, everyone, and good morning, sir. This was really an eye-opening session for me. And I agree with whatever you mentioned. We have to learn from the past, right? And so that we don't repeat the same mistakes again. But I think I strongly believe that the artificial intelligence, whatever we are talking so much about, is also based on our past history. We try to train from the past history, and then we try to test the new outcomes that we can get from our past trends. So that is, I strongly believe that whatever we have to learn from the past, we have to learn it, and we should not commit the same mistakes. But one concern I have is earlier this jati system was existing, and people were tied to the jati, and from then there came the caste system, and now we are not getting rid of this caste system because we are no longer doing the same thing what we were doing as a jati. All of us are now tied to either software or something where we are going to get lot of money. Everything is driven by our economical status, and everything is driven by the amount of salary or amount of money that I'm going to earn. And still we are following the caste system when it comes to marriage rituals and other things. I think where there is a lot of mismatch, because based on the kind of work we were doing, we were divided into several jobs. But now everyone is trying to do the same work, okay? But and this work is actually directed or decided by the kind of by the quantity of money that I'm getting, right? And what is your opinion that whatever was good in our past, we have lost it now, and some of us feel that we have a treasure of knowledge that we have in the past, but we are unable to follow in the current generation or in the current society. How do you think that we can get back all those treasure to the current society so that we will enjoy both technology as well? We make everyone live like a human. I think the education is one part of it, but this jati system is totally lost. As I see, everyone wants to do software because it gives you quick money. Not only software, any profession that gives you quick money and in quantity wise more money. I think we are all driven towards that. But my straightforward question is, how do you think we will go back to that kind of system where everyone is helping the other person based on the need, and the quantity is not measured? Like as you mentioned rightly, one thread at the end of the marriage is going to give you, I think, equal amount whatever is expected to receive. But now it is not happening. A pot is costing only 10 rupees. Maybe if you purchase a stainless steel, it costs you about thousands of rupees. If you go with silver, gold, the size is different, okay? But we have reached such a state that we are measuring everything by money only. So how do you think we will go back to that system where, not going back, but at least those morals we have to, I think, start again exhibiting so that the society becomes the best place to live in. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, madam. So very quickly, very short answer, but this answer will need expansion. Maybe some other time we can expand on it. I think one of our very serious confusion today is about the timeline. On one hand, we believe that there was a stone age, then copper age, then bronze age, then electricity age, then internet age. So we have progressed from stone age to age of internet. On the other hand, we also believe that there was Satyug, and then Treta, then Dwapar, then Kalyug. So we have fallen down. This is a serious confusion which needs a resolution. We have to decide whether we have progressed or we have fallen down. And where do we stand today? Until we decide this, we cannot even begin to start thinking on how to resolve our problems. But this is a very abstract answer. Much more detailing is needed.
Okay. I think we are 5 minutes over time.
Yeah.
One last question, maybe.
Thank you
can
for
take.
the answer.
Thank you, Salja ma'am. Anybody else? We can just take one question and then we will close.
I hope we need more sessions. Your time is required so that we can elaborate
Definitely.
more, and this is my request.
Sure. Yeah, we have noted, made note of it. So we will plan accordingly the future sessions also. Please stay tuned. Yeah, Sairam
Namaste,
Garu,
sir.
may I take your next question?
Namaste, sir. So happy to know that you are associated with Ravindra Sharma ji Kalakshetra. I'm fortunate to have met sir couple of times. And sir used to say this one thing. In one yuga, when everything is going to be covered by water, our rishis and all, they have collected grains and literature and to preserve it so that the new civilization can be started afresh. And he used to say that in this modern day where globalization, all of it is plundering the cultures, and he used to say that village is all about coexistence and interdependence. And right now, it's those bonds are fast cutting off. So, sir, if you want to experience what you have verbally communicated on how village is there any case study, living case study, where we can go and visit it?
I don't know of any. You have to imagine only. But
Okay.
what you have said is very important. My sense of past tells me that pralay has happened many times before also. The crisis
Yes,
we
sir.
see through the world today is leading to a pralay. Pralay has happened before also. What have people done? They have saved the seeds of civilization,
Absolutely.
which, I mean, this is the word of Ravindra Sharma ji. Bij Raksha. Save the
Yeah.
seeds of civilization so that after the pralay is gone, we can rebuild a civilization from those seeds.
Yes, sir.
So this is my sense of past, that pralay comes, once every 1,000 years pralay comes, everything gets destroyed, and again things are built. The thing to be done is to conserve the seeds of civilization.
And
Yeah.
I see that you are one of the most precious seeds, sir. That
No.
Ravindra Sharma ji.
No.
And, yeah. Sir,
Thank you, Sairam
there's an
Garu. Actually, I
organization
was
called Youth for
asking.
Seva. They started a program called Swagrama Fellowship, sir.
Uh-huh.
They wanted to work with Indian villages. I'll take your contact and personally meet you, sir, to discuss in detail about that.
Sure, please.
They're working, they're identifying some
Suman can
villages.
give you my number.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sairam Garu. I was actually going to ask Harsh to narrate that story as a conclusion, but you anyway made him answer that. Thank you. The last question from Shekhar Gupta Garu. You raised your hand. Would you like to ask something? We'll take your question and then close.
Hello, I can't speak in English, sir. Is it possible to speak in Telugu?
Yeah. Chepandi parvaled. నేను ట్రాన్స్లేట్ చేస్తాను హర్ష్ గారికి.
సార్ ఇది మార్పు అనేది జరుగుతూనే ఉంటుంది కదా, అది ఎప్పటికీ జరిగేదే కదా. మనము అంటే ఏం ఆశించి ఇవన్నీ చేయాలి అనేది అనిపిస్తుందండి. ఇంకోటి మార్పు అనేది ప్రపంచాన్ని ఎట్లా మార్చలేం, కనీసం మనలో మార్పు చేయడం అనేది ఈజీ అని నాకు అనిపించిందండి.
ఓకే. So Harsh, the question is, change is inevitable. So, going into the past again, is it? I don't know. He said, "What is the use of it?" Probably that's the question. And I think the whatever we can change is within us, not outside us. So that's his way of looking at it. Like the change is possible inside. So what is that change inside? Probably, which can reflect.
Yeah, so the first part I've addressed before, that there is a use of looking at the past. The second thing is, yes, change begins from inside. You see, action begins from inside. The origin of action is in the imagination, but action concludes outside into some material reality. So I would say change begins from inside, but its conclusion is to be seen outside.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
ఓకే
Harsh.
చాలా థ్యాంక్స్ అండి. బాగా కొంచెం
Thanks,
అర్థమైంది,
Shekhar.
బాగానే ఉంది. ఓకే
ఓకే అండి, థ్యాంక్ యూ. సో
సైడ్ లో మార్పు రావాలి, అవుట్ సైడ్ లో దాని రియాక్షన్ చూడాలి అన్నట్టుగా అనిపించింది.
అంతే అండి, కరెక్ట్, అదే చెప్పండి.
ఓకే
Okay, so I think that was very insightful, energetic, and thought-provoking session for me and
Little
many
controversial
others.
also. Little controversial also.
Naturally, because the caste word has a taboo associated with it, and the difference between jati and caste is not so obvious in the beginning. So naturally, that reaction is understandable. So, but I think all the questions are very interesting, and I'm glad that more than 50 participants have stayed through the session, listening to every aspect. And of course, we have acknowledged the need that many of you have told that we want more sessions. So point noted, we will look and plan when is the right occasion to do it. Maybe we'll invite Dr. Harsh again sometime soon. But I would like to take this opportunity to thank my friend, Dr. Harsh, for taking out this time and sharing all his wonderful knowledge about the Indian system and the questions, the need for drama, origin of art, how it started. It's wonderful, for me, because even I listened to a little bit of Ravindra Sharma ji, but a lot of things I got to learn today from Harsh. So thank you once again, Harsh, and thank you to all the participants for staying through the session. The session will be uploaded and you can listen on YouTube also. Before closing, one short note, we have workshop coming up on March 10th in IIIT Hyderabad. One-day workshop andi. One-day workshop undandi March 10th na IIIT Hyderabad lo. So kindly plan for it. Meeku telisina vallandariki information share cheyandi and make use of the occasion. Manaki seats are 100 seats unnayandi, limited, and registrations have started. So please inform your near and dear ones to attend and make use of this opportunity. So with that note, I wish you all a good Sunday, and thank you so much everybody once again for attending the session.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Subha. Thank you everybody for having me.
Thank you, Harshaji. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
everyone, sir. Sir, as a social studies teacher, I have learned so much today in today's session, sir. Really deeper insights, they say, no? So thank you so much. Special
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Harsha, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.